Hello everyone. Welcome back. Took a quick break there, but we're back at it. So again, I apologize for the technical difficulties in the first stream, but I think I've been able to resolve most of those now. And do let me know if the volume of the music or whatever is too loud for you guys. And I can make those adjustments. But I put together a little list of the things that we have to work on. Currently right now we're working on the user vote functionality. Hey Cody, how's it going? Yeah, so we have the user vote functionality set up. If you were here last time, you saw that we ran into an issue with that and then I had to take a break. But I want to get this working. And then I also want to set up the project page, which is going to be a more detailed page for that specific project. And then, can you guys hear my mic okay here? Okay, and then we also have a few things in the backlog that I want to take care of as well. Again, probably won't get to all these today, but these are just things that I'm going to be thinking about. So any features you guys have that you think should be added to the project, let me know and I might add them here. Cool. Thank you all so much. All right, so let's get into it. So if you'll recall, we had this issue where the requested resource wasn't found. I haven't done any investigating into this whatsoever, but it's coming from, let's see here. It's coming from PocketBase. And that's that's when we go to downvote something. So let's look here. Okay, so if we have a vote, we're going to take the vote and then we are deleting the votes with that ID. And I think that's where the error is happening here. I wonder if it's because of something in PocketBase. So let me open up PocketBase real quick. And again, let me know if I need to zoom anything in. I switched up the setup a little bit so that things are more easy to see, but okay. So our votes, if we look at the API rules, let's see what we have here. So for the delete action, we actually aren't passing user in the delete action, right? We're only passing in, if we look here, we're only passing in the vote ID. Therefore, this doesn't exist. So it's going to obviously be, I think, a 404. I'm not sure if that would generate a 404 though or not, unless it's just not showing a resource because that user doesn't have permission. So let me see here. Instead of doing this, we'll just say user, because we have access to all of the fields that are on this project or on this vote currently. So you can see here that, we can access all of these record fields. Okay, so, all right. That might be good. That might have just fixed it for us. So let's just check it out and see what happens now when we go to our app. So I can upvote, and that worked, okay? And then now when I go to click it again, that seemed to have worked as well. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna go ahead and delete all these votes because I'm kind of getting confused because I'm not able to see which ones we voted for once we have it yet. So I have no votes in there whatsoever at this point. When I vote as this user, I believe I'm currently logged in as Iris. So, yep, irisexample.com. Project is Twido. And then if I go back and click on that again, we should have the record gone. So that was our issue right there. We were trying to access request.data.user and that doesn't exist because we just have to pass in the ID whenever we're deleting something, right? Cool. All right. So now that we have that working, Now I think we can actually begin to display those votes on the page. So if I look here at the card, which I believe are the list item, let me make the terminal a bit smaller here. So someone asked earlier, how can we know if a user's voted or not before? Well, inside of our page.server, let's see here. So right now we're just console logging the vote list. What I think we can do is we can actually update, let me think here. So we have the votes. So now what we want to do is we actually want to add the vote list for each one of the projects into our projects object, right? So it would be projects.votes, for example, would show us all the votes in an array for that specific project. So we could use a map for this. Do you have low video quality right now? Is anybody else experiencing that? I think I'm streaming in 1440p. Let me know if the quality is bad. Okay. Yeah, Rafiq, check your settings. Make sure that you're watching at 1440p or whatever your internet can support. I think I also have 1080p as well. Awesome. Cool. Thank you all. Okay, so we can actually use a map for this. So we'll just create a projects object, and we'll map over our projects, right? And what we'll do now is we'll set projects.vote equals, and then we should be able to filter out the vote list for the votes that match this specific project that we're iterating over at this point in time. So it's vote list.filter, and then we'll say vote.project, right? Because inside of our votes, we have project here, right? Which has the ID of a specific project. So if that is equal to the current project ID, then we want to return the project. And we can see what this looks like real quick. Okay, I got an error. What did I get? Projects.map is not a function. Okay, it's actually projects. I keep doing that. Projects.items.map. But we're gonna lose. So that, okay, let's just look at this real quick. Okay, so when I save, we get projects, and I don't have any votes, I don't think, at the moment. So let me actually go and vote on some projects here. So I'll just vote on 3 of these with 1 user. And then let me log in with another user. And I'll just vote on Google, for example, right? So I have a few different votes that we can work with. And let's see here. So now when I save this, I'm saying projects.vote here. This should be project.vote because we want to work with this specific project object. It's my bad. Okay, so now we're seeing that we get a votes property. And let's just take a look at the first one, and we can say .vote. And then this is what the vote looks like. So we can see that we have a project and a user for this single vote. So I'll actually make this votes plural because it's going to be an array of votes. Okay, so project object 2, which I believe is probably Google, has 2 different votes on it, right? So that's a total of 2. Cool. So now instead of returning projects, we can return we actually want to edit projects. Let me think here, because we're going to lose the pagination. But I think if we just set projects dot items equals projects obj, because this is going to be a list of projects. This really should be projects list, right? Yeah. So we'll make this projects list, and then I guess we can just replace items here with items with this projects list, right? Because right now if we console log projects, you'll see that we get the page per page. We need that stuff for pagination, right? And then items is where the list of our projects actually exists. And it looks like I'm already updating that because this projects.items.map, I'm actually updating that. And we have votes here in an array, right? Because I'm not console logging that anywhere else. Okay, so okay, so I guess we're getting that here as well. So I should need to give that a name then. And we're returning it. And then we're going to have access to that on the other side inside of our page.svelte, as well as in our project list item. Apologize about that. My Alexa is going off here. Sorry about that. Okay. So we're passing the project in. Now I want to be able to display, I guess, if the user has already voted, so that we can change the way that the button looks inside of our UI. So how can I do that? Let me think here. So I guess what I can do is I can look through all of the project.votes. I can do a find in the project.votes because I'm gonna have access to project.votes here, and I'm gonna find a vote where the vote user is equal to the currently logged in user. So in my layout here, I'm actually getting this. And I think I can access page data from this component here in the same way that I can access a form. Let me just double check that, because I usually just pass it in, but I think it might be simpler if I just simply, let's see here. So I believe that page data will give us access to this. Let me just check real quick. Okay, so I do in fact get access to this. So I have access to the profile and I want the user ID here. So awesome. Let me make this a bit bigger actually too. So now we have project and we have the user, the current logged in user. What we can set up is a conditional. It pretty much just lets us know if the person has voted or not already. So we can say let has voted equals project.votes.find, and we'll find a vote where the vote.user equals the page.data.profile.user ID. Right, and then we'll convert this into a Boolean because if it doesn't find anything, if it's either find something or yeah, this should work just fine, I think. Okay. So now that we have a variable set to let us know whether or not the person has voted or not, and we'll say has voted, not has votes. We can start to kind of set up some of the styles and whatnot. Let me see Daisy UI. I think we can do something with like, you can pretty much copy ProductHunt essentially and change the color of the of that button if they have voted. So let's come down to our button here. And also, if a user's not logged in, we don't want them to be able to vote, right? So we can already kind of go ahead and prevent them from doing that by coming above the, let's see here. So here we'll say if profile, this will actually be if page.data.profile. Then we want to show this button here. But if not, we want to show, we'll just set up like a link to the login page, right? So they click on the button to upvote, we'll just redirect them to the login page. And we'll disguise this as a button too, the same exact button. course. That's what I get for trying to be fancy. Then we'll send them to login. Okay. So now when I click on this, everything will be fine because I'm logged in, but if I log out and then click on this, I get redirected to the login page. Cool. And then we also want to add some different stylings if the user has voted already. So has voted is true, right? Then we want to show btn primary. And then otherwise we want to show just a regular border. I keep saying has votes, has voted. Okay, so that already works, as you can see. So, and if we look at ProductHunt, we can see it looks very similar. So when I vote, the whole thing gets outlined with our primary color and gets filled with our primary color. So we're keeping track of that. Obviously, the whole page is refreshing right now. We haven't done any progressive enhancement. That's definitely on the agenda here to make that look a little bit better. But the functionality is working. So now what we can do is we can actually just get the length of that array, that votes array, and display that instead of this random number that we have listed here. So we could just say project votes dot length. Otherwise, we'll just put an empty string. Okay, so you can see that Google has two, right? Because this account as well as the other account have both voted, but as soon as I click on it now with this account to remove the vote count updates. So you can see that this is all updating too. All right, cool. So the vote functionality is coming along pretty nicely. Sorry to get a drink there. I guess we can go ahead and progressively enhance this as well while we're here. So to do that, we're going to want to take in use enhance here into our form. So we need to import that. We'll also need apply action as well. And I think that should be it. App/forms. Is it app/forms or is it so I really prefer using yeah, app/forms. Okay. So then we can come into our form and simply take the form, and then I hate when it does this. We'll say return async, take out result and update. And then if result.type is equal to success, then we'll reset the form. And then we'll change has voted to the opposite of whatever has voted was at the time of this form submission, because the form will be successful even if it submits to delete, for example, right? So yeah, so we want to set it the opposite of whatever it was when they submitted that. And then if the result.type invalid, we'll await apply action results. And then we're on update here. I think it should give us what we're looking for. So let's check it out. Nice. So you can see that that's now pretty seamless. We no longer have to we can just click on this and no page reloads. So the progressive enhancement is in fact working. The votes are being updated as we vote on each project. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so now that the voting functionality is pretty much done, we'll still need to implement that on another page as well, on the actual project page, but I think now is a good time to transition into the project page itself. If we look here at ProductHunt, this is how they show their product pages. So we'll do something similar to this, but you can see that they can also vote here as well, and it also displays the total amount of time for that project, right? So yeah. Let's see here. So they actually have a slug set up for the project itself. And I think we're just going to use the ID for now. We might do a slug later. But that can be slightly annoying to implement. Well, not annoying. I mean, it'd be easy to slugify the names, but since our names aren't unique, we're gonna have to make sure that, obviously the name isn't taken. So that may be something that we implement in the future. But for now, we'll just leave it at the ID. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a new route in projects. And I'm actually gonna use the helper here. And we'll call this first one, we'll call it project ID inside of brackets, right? It's our route param. And then we will have a page.svelte and a page.server.js. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the types because if I'm not doing them everywhere, it feels weird to me to do them here as well. So I'm just gonna delete it. All right. So on this page, we'll just set up some basic styles here to make the page look similar to how ProductHunt has theirs. So we'll do first start with a div. We know things are being stacked in a columnar fashion, right? So let's just set this up. So I know I'm gonna need another flex box there. I'm gonna need an avatar. And then our image is gonna be the thumbnail for that specific project. So we're gonna need to import our get image URL helper function here. I'm only monitoring the top chat. Okay, no one's talked recently. Got it. I was like, whoops, I've been kind of neglecting chat here. Okay, where were we? Avatar. So it's probably just gonna want to go ahead and get the actual page.server.js set up first before we move into trying to style this. We'll just get the data there. And that's gonna be pretty easy. All we're gonna do is use our params. So take in locals and params, and then we'll say get project. Whoops. And then we will need to import our serialize non-POJOs. Okay, so we're getting one project. So we're going to say project equals serialize non-POJOs, await. We're just going to get one projects where the project ID is whatever's passed into this. We're going to pass this in here in a second. Okay, so that gives us the projects. But now we actually need to get the votes too for that specific project. So we could say const votes, serialize non-POJOs again, and then we'll get the full list of votes, and we'll filter this. We'll say project is equal to project.id. So whenever we get back here, we're going to look for all the votes for that specific project, and then we'll set the project.votes equal to votes, and then return the project. And the reason we're having to do this manipulation, for those of you who all were not here earlier, PocketBase is actually working. I think they have an open issue to kind of address junction tables and join tables and things like that. Because right now, I know that SvelteKit can handle that. They automatically detect essentially, you know, indirect relations, right? They're able to expand indirect relationships. But PocketBase doesn't have anything like that baked into it just yet. But apparently it's on the roadmap. It still has not been released. So if you're watching this VOD at a future date, it might be released by then. So definitely make your life a bit easier and check on that for sure. Okay, so project.votes is now votes. So we should be able to return the project from here. And then from this load function, we'll return project, get project, params.project ID. Right? Okay, so now that we have that, we should have access to project inside of our actual project page, right? So we'll be able to access the data.project and then access the information that we need. So now we have this get image URL helper here. We can set up an image. The source will be get image URL, and then we'll pass it in the data.project and then the @collection name. Collection name. And I think we also need to pass it, I can't remember what that helper was. I think it was the collection name, the record ID, the file name, and the size. Okay, so this first, and then data.project.id, and then data.project.thumbnail. And that's the project, or that's the image name, right? So then we have the alt, it's gonna be the project logo or thumbnail. And then let's look at our page now. So it's gonna be projects / the project ID. So let me actually go ahead and link these projects to their respective pages. And that's gonna be in the project list item. So when I click on the title of the project, I want it to take me to /projects/project.id. Okay. Okay, so now we just get the dog here. That's all we have so far. I'm actually going to move this to the side for now while we're styling this. So let me actually change my layout if I can remember my shortcut for that. I think it's Windows key and then 1. There we go. Okay, so let's finish styling this page up. So I know we're going to have, where are we right now? This first one. So we're inside of here, right? And we have the avatar, and then so okay. So far, so good. So this is actually going to be the visit button. So this will take them to their project URL. And we want that to actually, it's gonna be an external. So we want this to be a, open up in a new tab. We don't want them to leave our site. And then we need to say no opener, no referrer. What did I do wrong here? Oh. Might help if I actually give this a child component or a child. So we're gonna say in here we're gonna pass the, or just say visit, I guess. And that's like the visit button that they have on ProductHunt. Our own variation of that. Ours is definitely bigger, but when you go down from large to medium, it ends up being, I think, too small. So we'll leave it at large for now. Okay, so our next button though is actually going to be that vote button. So we're gonna have to implement the voting functionality on this as well. I don't know, we can hit that other endpoint, but my concern is the reactivity of it, and if I'm gonna be able to get information back from that other page. So I guess we'll just probably just create the actions again on this page for now unless someone can tell me otherwise. We'll also add the same progressive enhancements, but we'll do that after the fact. And we'll have an hidden input again. It's going to track that project ID. ID, or the name is going to be ID. Okay, and let's see here. Yeah, you're right about that actually. Especially if the action is going to be the same on both pages. Yeah, let's do that. And I guess we'll put that in the global component store because technically it would belong to not only the projects, but also the page.svelte. The only thing is this button's going to be bigger, so we have to add like a prop for the variation. But we'll just build this out and then we'll clean it up after the fact. It's usually the way that I like to work. I like to go through and just make everything work, and then I go back and try to clean things up, you know, remove some repeated code wherever I can. So again, this is also going to need that same exact logic though, where if it is a yeah, I think you're right. I think I'm going to go ahead and make that a component at the moment. We can call this form. It's really a button, but it also is a form. Yeah, so let's just take this out of, where is it at? It's on the home page at the moment too. We're on the inside of the list item component. Hey Agathon, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. So far, so good. No technical difficulties, which is fantastic. I think I fixed the issues I was having earlier with my, I think I was trying to stream at too high of a bit rate. I think I overestimated my internet connection here. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Yeah, I was taking the form from this project list item into a new component. So let me actually switch my layouts back here. Okay, so we're going to take this form and then make this a component in and of itself because we're going to use it in multiple places. Which means we're going to need to pass project here as well. We're going to need to pass in the project, and then this hasVoted method will move over there. As well as a few other things, but let's just take these first. Okay, cool. We'll also need this caret up as well as the enhance and apply action. Okay, so we now need to, instead of where was that format? It was at the end over here, I believe. Yeah, so now we can just pass in the project vote form. Yeah, I promise you guys, streaming is one of the most, or live streaming code is one of the most difficult things I've done. And I actually started this because I read, somebody tweeted or posted about, I think it was the Primogen actually, was talking about how it makes you a better developer. Because again, it almost feels like there's like 20 people standing behind you, or 10 people, how many viewers I have right now, I don't know, I'm not seeing that, but standing behind you with everything you do. So it's a little bit nerve wracking. I think you're thinking about making mistakes that, you know, you think so much about making those mistakes, not making mistakes, you end up making mistakes. So, and then we need a pass project in, of course, but it's definitely out of my comfort zone, so I'm glad to be doing it. We no longer need this, we no longer need this, or this, or this. Okay, so this should be working now. So if we go back to our home page, let's make sure that we didn't break anything and everything's working as expected. Fantastic. So now I can use this again on the project page. So now instead of building out another form, all we have to do is bring in the project list or project vote form. Thank you, Cookify. Yeah, again, I think I mean, obviously I'm going to become more comfortable the more I do it. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where, yeah, happy to be doing it though. I get a lot of value out of videos like this or out of streams. I watched a few other guys do streams recently, and it definitely, I guess, opened my mind that, you know, nobody has all the answers, and people do have to look things up, and people get stuck and hit roadblocks, right? So it kind of reassures that. I think that just YouTube videos themselves can almost be seemed like, or, you know, be perceived as though that person knew exactly what they were doing off the top of their head, when most of the time the videos are rehearsed and the project's already been built once. You have all the source code to fall back on. So I think this is definitely a different type of content for a different type of viewer. But I'm glad you guys appreciate it. So we have the project vote form, and then the project here is going to be data.project. Hello, Osage. Welcome back to the stream. I think you're here earlier, right? Or you at least you've commented on my videos before. I definitely recognize your name. Okay, so yeah, now we get this button here. I guess the problem right now I have is that the variation is different than I want it to look. But I guess we could set up some props for that, because I wanted to do something, again, very similar to this. Awesome. Thank you so much for watching all the videos. I hope they were helpful. I still plan on releasing some videos, some more videos soon here as well. I just want to give live streaming a try this weekend, but I definitely have some videos in the works. And then if we can get this project to a point where I think that I could create a video on it, then I'll make a more structured video on PocketBase. But this is kind of the process that I go through to determine if something is going to become a video or not. I usually try to build something, and then hitting roadblocks like the issues with not being able to, you know, pull the indirect relations. That's something that, you know, may deter me from making a video until that's fixed, or until they have a better way to do that. Try to make default objects that have all of your keys defined. Every one of those questions translates into an if statement, and especially with a lot of them, you're generating a lot of code behind the scenes. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. So you're saying that I should make an object Hey Hollow, thank you so much. I may put the course. Putting a course together is no small feat. I have a lot of respect for the guys like Brad Travesty and those guys that are able to make really good courses, right? It's easy to put something out that covers the surface and then, you know, put it on a landing page and get people to buy it. And, you know, they could have found more information on YouTube for free. But I think with 1.0, I may take making a course into consideration. It would just have to be, I'm kind of a perfectionist, so it would have to be covering everything that I would want to receive if I'm paying for a course. So Agathon, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. I'm not sure if you can send a link or something, but yeah, I might just be having a blank. When I see it, it may click. Okay, so unexpected token posts. Oh, I don't have the actions built here. Osage, wondering about PocketBase. I know it's limited in terms of scalability. However, what if you make a Docker file and host it in a service that auto scales VMs? Railway, would that work? From what I understand, I mean, when I understand, it can only scale vertically, so you can only beef up your PocketBase server. I think it might be due to the, I'm trying to think. I guess it'd be a matter of like keeping that data in sync. And I actually saw, I don't know if anybody here follows Kent C. Dodds, but I did see him on his live stream. I think last week he was working on trying to get SQLite replicating across different regions. I just haven't looked into it enough, but maybe we'll do that with this project. So for calling a user object, okay, I see what you're saying. So, got it. So have everything as strings, and then let me see. Okay, so you're saying that inside of, let's just say, my lib somewhere, I would just define those objects and then have them available anywhere in the application. So then would it be, I guess, something like, so for example, would it be, just as an example here, user, and then we'd have the name. So obviously the user has a name. Let's just use project, for example. And then we have name, tagline. And then are you saying that essentially pass the values here? So setting the values to this, or do we actually run, or do you think we should run the like project or data.project.name, for example, here, or this? Yeah, Agathon, I don't know if you're in the Discord or not, but if you are, you could just send me like a snippet. I'll look at it because definitely interested in optimizing. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, thank you. Okay, so trying to think. Okay, sorry, I've lost my train of thought here for a second. So, okay, we're working on getting this. I'm getting an error here, and that's because I don't have the actions actually defined on this yet. So let me set these up. I'm copying this from the other one. Okay. Okay, so the same functionality works here as well. I do want to style this button differently. And I guess I could probably just pass in the button using a slot. It's really bothering me that this button is a different size than this one though. So let me see here. Let me go into my, because I added some extra padding to the one that has the caret. So P3, height auto. Okay. I'll worry about that in just a second. What else do we need to add on this page? We need the description. We'll omit this here for now. We may come back and add this later. We're also going to omit the rankings. Again, we just want to get, the core functionality here, and then we can start to add some of the cool little additions. So we then need to display the description. So that'll go under this form. And then, let's see here. Actually, it'll go down here, I believe. Oh, whoops. I actually go to the page, not the okay, that's because we're still inside of this flexbox. Need to go down one more div. There we go. Cool. So now we have the ability to vote on the pages, pending some cleanup actions for my 3,000 if statements I'm running here throughout my application. I think I do understand what he's referring to. He or she, actually, I'm not sure. But let's see here. So I guess now we're done with the user vote functionality for the time being. Also, I'm using this linear.app, keep track of stuff. So I'm kind of new to it. It looks pretty cool. So I decided to try it out, but yeah, keep me on track. So we also have the project page. It's kind of done-ish, but we need to add the comment functionality. But I think that probably the ability to update and delete projects is probably a higher priority than comments at the moment. So, okay. So now let's work on the update and delete projects functionality. So right now we have no way of like editing or deleting our own projects. So what we should do is probably in this menu here, have like a My Projects button here where it takes them to a list of just their projects, right? And that should be fairly simple to implement. If we let's see here. Because we can just reuse the same card, potentially with like a different button there instead of, or mostly the same card. Okay. So what we'll do is inside of routes, we'll set up my, and I think this is how ProductHunt does it. So if I go to, for example, my products, see my, so we'll kind of keep it on track with how they're doing it here. And then we want to have a create a routes, be projects. And then we're going to load that user's projects. So first of all, we want to protect this route. So basically, if they're not authenticated, we want to throw an error. We could also redirect them, but I think we'll just throw an error here because there's no reason they should be accessing this URL unless they say 401, you must and we'll add like a nice error page with a go home button or something here shortly, but right now they have the actual site logo in the top left they can click on to head back to the home page. So Oh, okay. Agathon. Okay. I found, I see now the connection. So it's actually, I do not, it is definitely a he. Let me see here. Yeah, Agathon, you can also just paste a code snippet in Discord too if you'd like. Okay. Need to import this. Yeah, we'll be deploying this eventually. I got to determine what's going to be the best. I need to do some research offline on what are the best, I guess, the most scalable ways to deploy one of these applications. But hey, Harry. Yes, I do. Harry asked, do you think there's any benefit in using the PocketBase SDK on the client side too? And are you doing it here? I do think there's a benefit to that. And I haven't implemented it yet, but that's something that I do want to eventually get to, because pretty much everywhere I've read has mentioned that, uploading files should not be handled by your server, because you can imagine you're adding that extra weight. It should go straight from the client or the user to the, in this case, the image hosting server, which is PocketBase in this case, right? But right now we're having the users upload the images or whatever to our SvelteKit server, and then our SvelteKit server is then uploading them to, or passing them over to PocketBase. Yeah, so I do see a benefit in that. I think that, again, ultimately, especially if you're going to have your app distributed, yeah, we'll explore that probably once we get the functionality done server side. I definitely want to look at that, because that's some of the things I've had questions about is, coming from always thinking about using JavaScript, like, I can't remember before using SvelteKit, I can't remember the last time I actually just built like a regular HTML form, right? Without using state in React. So yeah, Brandon, for sure. So you're saying that, only handling that server side rather than client? Of course, Harry. Yeah. So 1 second here. I'm reading Agathon's response to me about setting up these default objects. Again, I always want to try to show the best practices. So oh, okay, I see. I see, Agathon, 100%. I see exactly what you're talking about now. So I guess I could just do that inside of the lib. I'm not really sure where to put that. I guess I'd put it like in a... have an analysis paralysis on what to call it, because I'd like to ideally keep all of these somewhere else that I'm not going to be. I guess it'd be kind of like a model. It honestly kind of, or a schema. Or like a DTO. You got it. Let's do it. So this is coming from Agathon. So let me just kind of re-explain this for those here right now and then those that watch the VOD later. So right now, inside of all my page.sveltes, you can see that I'm consistently running these conditional or optional chaining question mark dot, right? So it's essentially running a, yeah, Agathon, I actually use TypeScript as well, and that's what I was thinking about, putting it in a types folder or in interfaces, or yeah, it's definitely weird when you're going from TypeScript to not using it. You feel like you're missing something, especially every time you type something dot and nothing pops up with IntelliSense. It's a little bit strange, but most of the viewers do not use it, so I don't want to. Let's see. Yeah, so anyways, the optional chaining I'm using here, right? Essentially, it's running an if, behind the scenes, it's running an if statement on every single one of these. So I'm generating a ton of extra code that doesn't need to be there. And what I can do is I can just define how I want my object to look, right? I can define a default project, for example. And then what I can do is I can spread the whatever we get back in our response, or in our response from fetching the project, right? We can spread that over this default project, and then it will have empty strings already for any values that aren't present. That way we don't have to run optional chaining, and essentially we'll get the same result with much less code. So thank you so much, Agathon, for that suggestion here. So we have name, we have tagline, we have description, we have URL, and then we also have thumbnail. And then we also have the user. And then let's see here. You can also run like a default. I guess you could run like default vote too. But I should never have a default. I should never have anything empty on a vote. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this for the time being. So now we have access to default projects. And then I will, instead of handling that on the page.svelte, I'll handle it inside of the page.server. So inside of our page.server here, I guess I can do that in here. So default object. Yeah, there's not really much for SvelteKit tutorials at the moment. There are some good YouTubers and some live streamers that make, you know, good SvelteKit content. But as far as if you're talking like deep, yeah, good luck. I try to spend time on the SvelteKit or the Svelte Discord a lot. There's a lot of senior individuals there that have been using Svelte and SvelteKit since its inception. But I do know, and actually Rich Harris just replied to one of my tweets where I hinted at him that hopefully the docs will contain tutorials like Svelte, and yeah, he said that it's in the works. So that's the plan, is to actually have a full-on SvelteKit tutorial, similar to how Svelte Svelte's current documentation looks. Okay. So now we have this default project. We can just say, instead of just having projects, returning projects here, we can just say return default project and then projects, right? Or ... projects. Does this break anything? Let's see. Okay, so far so good. So it seems like you're right. Yeah, you're right. So projects.items. So projects is an object, but it's actually an object that contains .items, which then has an array of projects. So do that here. Yep. Like this. Okay. Okay, so now we get all of our projects back, and I think we can remove those conditionals now. And I'm going to test it too, just to see. I guess I could just not add one of these options here, and I would see that. But let me go to my page.sveltes. So now this data.project should always be present. Well, I guess data.project may not be, right? Actually, it will be present, so it'll always have something. As long as I do it here, obviously, as well, I'm gonna have to run that here. So we always have at least something there. It'll just be a bunch of empty strings. See, let me just delete all of this. So on this page here, we have just a regular project object, so we should be able to do that here. This is already feeling much better. Yeah, any other viewers, if you have input, definitely, again, I never once claimed to know everything. And there are a lot of things I don't know. So if you see me doing something that's just wrong or that you think could be done better, please let me know. All right, so now let's move on Did I already fix everything here? So this is the new project. This doesn't matter, I don't think. This will definitely. Okay, so I think we're good now. And I think here, I want to say I either put. I'm actually going to change this. So, like if that's not true, we're just going to return the profile to be undefined, so that we have something there, so that we don't have to check for data.profile everywhere too. Yeah, Agathon, I guess, you don't really think about that. That's definitely something that's going to be useful to me moving forward. I'm definitely always going to do that. As well as in my next video, when I attempt to do some optional chaining, I'll make sure to give you a shout out and include that piece in there too, so that everyone else knows a better way to do something moving forward. So I'm trying to figure out where, yeah, so this. Okay, I think we're going to be good then here. And while we're in the layout, I know that we wanted to add a projects page. Actually, let me finish what I was doing. I have a problem with getting sidetracked here. So I'm going to get the full list of projects. I'm just going to say 200. I don't imagine someone having over 200 projects, but maybe we'll have to make an adjustment later on. Yeah, Static, that's the goal. Again, I'm just streaming the work that I do behind the scenes, that I would do behind the scenes anyways before building a video. I want to build the entire project, make sure that I can resolve any issues I run into, and then, work out all the little issues. So I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking out the process. So I'm lost here somewhere. Okay, so, all right. Now I want to return projects, but I guess I could run a map on this the same way that I did on the other one, right? Let's see. So since I'm getting the full list, yeah, it'll just be projects.map instead of projects.items.map, but I think this should still apply the same way here. And I don't need, do I need to display the votes here? I don't know. Probably so. Probably so, right? I probably need to show the votes. Because then we can do cool things like actually showing the users potentially their vote growth over time or something like that. But for now, I'm going to leave it out. And then I'm going to add it here. that a feature or is that an improvement? Okay, then we need to import default project, of course. Wow. We need to catch an error here. So I think this will actually give me access. I think I actually will have access from this. I'll have error.status and error.message instead of just throwing something. And then outside of this, okay, so I'm returning the projects, and then I'll return projects, get user projects. Okay, so now we have the My Projects page here. And actually, before we start this, I'm going to take a quick break, probably 5 to 10 minutes or so. So I will be back. I'm just going to catch a breather real quick, drink some water, and we'll build out this My Projects page. So I'll see you guys soon. Okay, we're back. Yeah, I noticed I've been streaming for like an hour and a half straight without a break, so trying to be disciplined here. So I'm probably gonna stream for another hour and a half or so, and then I'm gonna call it quits for the night. So let's try to knock out the My Projects page. And let's see here. So this page is gonna be very similar to our homepage, right? As far as the most of the stuff goes, we're gonna have a card. Again, I know I'm gonna consolidate a lot of the components down and add some variations, but I just want to build rather than, I guess, be super critical over all the small things. So you'll see a lot of me repeating myself, and then we'll try to clean things up later on. For this page, we'll set up just a title, a pretty big title, and we'll make the title say My Projects. And then we're going to have each data.projects. We're going to render out a card, which can be very similar to the other project card that we have, except instead of let's see here, instead of comments, or actually we can probably just leave this and then just change this upvote button into like an edit button. So man, that really okay. Yep, I'm just gonna do it. More about that later. A lot of times when I'm building projects, I end up getting stuck because I'll end up trying to perfect everything before I even have anything built. So I'll try to make all my separate components and abstract everything away, and then I end up getting lost in my own code because I'm going around from different component, trying to figure out what I did here, what I did where. And then I end up hitting a roadblock where I can't even do what I wanted to do. And then I end up, dropping the project, and I wasted so much time. So we're not gonna do that today. Today we're going to get it working the way that I want it to work, and then we'll fix it up later on. Welcome back, sir. Glad you're here. I just came back a few minutes ago, so. So right now I'm duplicating a bunch of code. I just explained that I'll fix everything up later, but I just want to get everything built now without complicating things. So I want to replace this project vote form with just a button. And yeah, so I'll just replace it with a button. And it'll be an outline, and we'll say edit projects. Actually, it's going to be an A tag. Yep, exactly. So this will be /projects/ okay, now I'm running into something. So now I have my projects, but when I edit it, do I want to edit my projects with a route param, or do I want to edit, or do I want to just do projects /project ID /edit? Open to suggestions here. So I have two projects folders, two project routes, I guess. One's my projects and one's projects. When setting up this edit route, don't want it to be /my/projects or projects / the ID and then /edit. I think it'd be less routes to do the other way. Yeah, I struggle with that, with making it. So we can identify, yeah, so the standard is, see, I went through an API course last year for a certification that I was going through, and and at least the instructor of that course said to always use the plural. Yeah, like this in terms of HTTP methods. So even here they're doing /customers. You can post, and then customer/1 is the details for customer 1. I think we'll do it that way. But since the page itself is going to be like edit, I guess we'll just do so we have to check to make sure that the user that actually owns that project, right? As well. Even though we have the API rules in place, we'll still need to check to make sure that the user actually owns that project. So yeah, we'll just do /project/project ID, and then we'll have edit. What did I do? Oh, I didn't even create the route yet. Wow. Okay. Oh, I need to actually pass the project list item here into this My Projects page. Called it My Project Item. Then we're going to pass in project. That's another thing with TypeScript. It always does the correct imports, whereas just plain JavaScript gives us a relational import or relative import. You'll have 20,000 dots everywhere. Okay, so now we should see this, and that is ugly. And that's because I need to fix that button. Wait. Whoa, what happened here? There we go. So obviously I don't have the shroud built yet, but it is taking us there. I don't really like how I'm probably gonna change this up when we get to the UI enhancements, but I don't like how there's no real separation between, like, it just looks like a lot of empty white space here. And there's no, I think ProductHunt, when they do it, they have a nice line here. So we'll probably do something like that. Or we'll just make the page, make this container smaller. But we'll worry about that later. Okay, so on the edit project page, how do we want to do this? So if we want to implement something like ProductHunt has, which if we want to add multiple images later, we kind of need to have like multiple forms or multiple pages, or I'm trying to think about this. So I guess we can just go ahead and set up multiple pages maybe for this. Trying to think. Yeah, why not? We get to use a little bit of layouts or nested layouts. So if we're going to do something, we're going to build something similar to ProjectHunt. So we're also going to need like a load function in layout. And then they have like status draft and status published. That may be something that we want to add in the future. So we'll leave it for now. And then we can just add a divider. Daisy UI's dividers just like this. And then now if we go here, whoops, I'm in the wrong. Oh, I'm doing the layout. Whoops. So then we're going to need, this is that top bar. And then we need a menu. Oh yeah, 100%. Again, I just don't know just yet, I guess, what what I want to have where. But yeah, I've definitely taken advantage of that before. I'm just kind of using random H tags too, so our heading tags, so I'll probably end up adjusting some of those as well. So this is the menu that's in the sidebar. So I guess the first one is going to be the, we need to get the project ID. So that'll be data.project.id, but for now, just going to leave it. And we'll call this like the main info, I think is what they're calling it at ProductHunt. Yeah, main info. And then we'll have another one of these. Only one of them is going to be active, of course. Good morning, 6 a.m. in India. Good morning. It is currently 9:13 p.m. in the United States, Florida to be specific. So this one will be maybe images. Okay, so this is the layout. Not in a page.svelte. Whoa, that looks a little bit ugly. So let's work on the page.svelte. And if we want to make it similar to how they have theirs, trying to think here. Yeah, I guess we can do. That looks much better. Much better. Let me actually add a link in my layout to the and I also probably should abstract out these links here, considering they're in two different places. Just have like navigation. But for now, we'll just keep moving forward. So okay. Yes, I guess I'll build the form out for editing projects. And the first thing that we want to do though is we actually need to, for one, close those tabs, because I have my VS Code settings to not close the tabs, because that annoys me when it closes them, but then it also annoys me when it doesn't. So I'm kind of torn, but we need to set up inside of this layout here, and then also probably inside of each individual page, because from what I understand, the load function on layouts only loads the first time that layout is rendered. So subsequent navigation in between those routes does not re-trigger the load function. I could be wrong about that, but I think that I recently read that. So we'll check it in a few places. So let's set up, that is true, yeah. So, and often I will see, I've had a couple comments on some of my videos telling me that I should put, you know, instead of putting the auth logic inside of an individual page.server, or the auth checking, the route protection, I guess you could say, that I should put it inside of the layout, but I think it should be in both places, right? Why not? Okay, so inside of projects and edit, we'll make a layout here. And we'll say load, get locals, and then we'll also need params, because we're gonna access that project ID through that param. We'll get the project. Need our serialized non-POJOs. So we're just gonna get one, we'll get the project ID from this param. And then once we have the project, we're gonna check if locals.user.id is not equal to the project.user. So if the currently logged in user is not equal to the user listed on that project, then we're gonna throw an error. You do not have permission to edit this project. We'll return default project. Yeah, just talking about like getting the project, for example, like making a almost making like a repository. Yeah, we'll probably do that, to be honest. So we can just pass in, for example, the PB instance. or we could actually just, yeah, we could actually just pass locals in to whatever that is and then handle all of that there. So that's a pretty good idea because I'm getting tired of repeating myself. So that might be what we do as soon as this is, depending on how fast we get this page done before the end of the night. Cannot read properties of undefined reading PB. Get project. Locals.pb.records. Why is PB undefined? Oh wait, locals.pb.records. Did I break something over here? I'm still getting it. Plus layout.server.js. Wait, I'm in the wrong folder here. In the edits. Oh, wow. It's layout.server.js. That's my bad there. Now we're good. Okay, got it. Yep, mistake there. Okay, so now we're returning this project and we have our layout set up. So now we can begin to actually start to construct the form. Inside of our page.svelte. So we'll say I think that we're fine. I don't really want to change. I was thinking if we should separate these two to a different background, but I think we'll just leave it white for now. And then for this one, we'll just have the main fields. So I can probably take that from the create page here. I just need the name, tagline. I'm not going to do the thumbnail here. Yeah, I'm trying to think. This is something that I've been struggling with previously is having multiple images. If we get to the point where we have multiple images, trying to wrap my head around the client side, server side, where I should do what, and then how I should handle, like, let's just say we had a gallery with 10 images, for example, and I want there to be an X in the top right that I click, right? So let's just say this is the edit page. We have 10 images in a gallery. Let's just say 5. I guess we could use ProductHunt as an example. Now, obviously, they're using 100% JavaScript. If I turn JavaScript off, this page doesn't work, which is fine. I'm not anti-JavaScript, but I'm trying to do things. I want to learn personally how I can make it both great for people that do have JavaScript and then also functional for those that aren't running JavaScript. So in this case, right, if I had like 10 images here, if I just browse for files and I just simply, upload some of these. So here they have this little X here, right? So I can click on this X and it deletes the image. Now I know that in this case, it's JavaScript that's doing that. Well, let's just say that my product was saved, for example, or my project was saved, and then I have a gallery like this on the edit page, and I want to, delete each one of these, you know, any one of these images. I guess I could have, see, like, would this be a bunch of different forms? Or would this be a single form with buttons, I guess, that would, these buttons would make a call to different endpoints? Yeah, so the buttons would be, would do something similar to, like, I did read in forms, I did read that I'm able to post it to a different, yeah, so you can use a form action attribute on a button to post the same form data to a different action than the parent form. So I wonder if, like, what are your thoughts on that piece? Because then I guess we could set up different buttons. But the weird thing is, yeah, and then each button would have some type of unique identifier that would identify that specific image potentially. And then I guess, like, I wonder, can we take in params? And it's like, can I add additional params onto this and then check to see if that, I guess I could probably take query params, huh? So I guess I could take query params and do it that way. Yeah, like I'm curious again, because if we see here that each action receives a request event object, allowing you to read the data with the request.form data. I guess I'm just trying to signal to the action which button was clicked without having to set up a different action for every different possible image. I guess that can be something that we test, right? Because it shouldn't affect the URL. It should just add query parameters to it if I add a query param. So I'm going to test that out, actually. That's the rabbit hole we're going down, so buckle up. So I'll leave all of this here. And I'm going to change these excesses to larges. Whoa. I guess this is, so I guess we could add some additional styles here to this as well. And this can actually be our new like create project form eventually too. Make it a little bit better as we go. So they have the name and the tagline together. And then I think this will be fine for now. We'll make this look better later, I promise. I'm not a designer, but I know what good design looks like, and this does not look like good design, but I don't do for now. So I want to test the form actions to see if I can click on a button on that thumbnail and then have it display or have it actually submit the form and take out only and delete the item with the ID that button was clicked for. So let's see here. We need the same schema that we have in other places on the app too. So we have an edit schema, but so I guess let's first get the data. I think we're gonna need the params here as well. Actually, we don't even need to get the project here because we already have it from layout. So we already have the project in layout. So the page.server, we just need to have the actions. So I should be able to access. Yeah, because I'm returning the project in layout, so I have it on all these pages. And then I can say, but I wonder, is that going to hurt something if I go to, if I submit a form, I guess the page will reload and the layout.server will rerun. Okay, I had to quickly fix some stream settings. I was getting a little bit of buffer there. Okay. So I have access to data.project because I'm returning it in my layout.server. So therefore I can go ahead and pre-populate all of these individual form values with the actual information. So I guess for the name, we can do value. We'll say data.project.name, or we want to use data.project.name, and then if it's true, if not, we want to use the form data.name. I think that will work unless we don't have either of those, but we're always going to have at least one because we set up our default object. And then I'm gonna set resize to none on this because I don't want. Okay, so all this is populating here. Now the thumbnail, I can populate that as an image. If there's an image, I can't remember if we made the thumbnail a requirement or not. Probably should do so. That would make this a bit easier. But then I guess if they delete the image, they'll need a way to re-upload it. Okay, I guess I can just do like, I'm trying to think here how I should go about doing this. Could wrap it in like a label. It's gonna be for thumbnail. So when they click on this, it's gonna and then I guess I could do a button with a form action. And we could just say like delete question mark something. Question mark ID equals something. I just want to see how this works. I could be way off here. So please, if you're watching and you know, let me know. And then we're going to use this trash can here. Whoa. Okay. And then we're going to need the image. And then we'll set this to I'm trying to think here. And we need the file name. And I guess we could put this X I guess I have to wrap all of this in another label, right? And then I don't really know if this is the way to go or not, but let's find out. Okay. So let me think about this for a second. So the whole thing, okay, so this, we'll swap these two. This one is going to be absolute. Put in the top right. But do I need a label for that though? Or could I just add it to the button itself? Okay, so I think I'm doing this wrong, but let me just think here for a second. So I'm trying to see if I can pass a query parameter to this form action here. So let me just go to my page.server and set up some actions. Let's just say delete. It can take in a request event. So no params. We want this search params, right? Which I think we could get from the URL, maybe. Yeah, so here they show an example. So this takes in, we can get the URL, and we can get the search params for whatever we pass. So we'll get URL, we'll also get locals. Actually, we'll get, wait. Confusing myself now. URL, locals, and request. And then I want to get the URL search params. I think it's url.searchparams.get. Yep. url.searchparams.get, and then I put in the key. And then I want to get the, what did I pass? ID. Okay, so now action when name delete ID found. So it looks like man, I really want to know how this is done. I've dug and I haven't found a good example. And it's probably something so simple that I'm just missing right now. I know I could definitely do it with a custom handler or a custom event listener or with use enhance. But I'm trying to see if there's a way that I could do it here. Like, how can I make a request? How can I make a post request to this endpoint and somehow provide it with something else so that it can signify this is what's being posted without me having to create a separate action for each one of these different images that I want to have? This can't be that can't be the best way to do it. I guess I could also handle this with an endpoint. Then I could certainly get the. But what's going to happen is though, when I post that endpoint, it's going to take me to that endpoint. Man, it's really beating me up right now, to be honest. Oh, it won't? Okay. Then I'll give that a shot, because I can for sure have that here. It's just a matter of, I guess, the page would reload, and then it wouldn't have an image there anymore. Let me try that. So I think by default, the yeah, I'm definitely going to, for sure. So hey, they updated the docs a little bit. I'm pretty sure. They call this promise unwrapping now. Yeah, I guess I could do that, huh? I guess that would probably be the easiest way to do this. I'm just trying to see here if I should put this in the same. I need to figure out the precedence. I can't remember which one. Content negotiation. SvelteKit applies the following rules. Yeah, no, again, they're already gonna have to pretty much load regardless. I mean, the page is gonna reload, so I mean, that would suck, but yeah, I'm trying to accommodate here, and it's really stretching me. So put, patch, and delete requests are always handled by plus server.js, since they do not apply to pages. And then get and post are treated as page requests if the accept header prioritizes text HTML. If it's a browser page request, else they are handled by plus server.js. So I think in this case, it's going to be, we can just throw that file in the same directory. And then I guess it would. I'm just going to test it out and see what happens. So let me just put this in this same directory, server.js. And then I'm going to have a, I guess a post. And then we'll take in, because in this case, I think that we could actually get the query parameters there. Try to think here. Do we have access to locals? Yeah, we should. I guess we'll just redirect them, or we'll return a redirect. Okay. So in this case, I just want the URL because everything is going to be contained here. So I'm not going to get any form data back. So we can just say, for now, I just want to console log url.searchparams.get ID. And let's just see what happens here. So instead of going to !/delete, I can just do slash and then a question mark ID equals hello. I have no clue if it's gonna work or not. Let me just try it. Okay, so it's looking for a default action. So I guess I have to set up like a separate endpoint. If you're just popping in, we're currently trying to figure out how to handle gracefully deleting a single image with a button of some sort, so that if we have like 10 different images on the same form, we can handle deleting all of those images one by one, even if JavaScript isn't available. This would be much easier if we were, you know, not accommodating, but again, I'm trying to learn how to do it both ways. So in this case, it would be to slash, I guess we put the full route here then. So slash projects slash, but this is looking for a form action. That's the question. Is this going to buttons form owner? Okay, that's fine. So it should be fine here. So to project slash project.id. Data.project.id slash delete. Okay, so I am getting it here. That's fine. I didn't return a response object, which is okay, but I am getting this. So I can just throw a to I need to redirect them to the page they were currently on. So I can also get params here. And then say redirect to slash projects slash params project slash params dot project ID slash edit. Whoops. Slash edit. Okay, let's test this out here. Okay. So that looks like it works. So now here is where we can actually go in and then delete the image. So, I I really should probably just create the repository now. So we'll say, I don't even think we actually need to do anything here. I think we just await locals.pb.records.delete, and then we'll delete from projects. Actually, we're not deleting the whole record. We're just deleting that one image from the record. So what we need to do is, I guess we got to pull we're updating it, and we're updating the thumbnail to nothing. And I think the way that we do that is edit the record, set the field to a 0 value, null, empty string. And then if we want to delete only a single file, we can provide the index or the file name. Yeah, patch null. So it would be like this. We get the record ID, and then documents would be null. That's if there's multiple records, but if there's only one, we just set the single documents to null. That's deletes all the documents, and then delete an individual file by their index or file name. Okay, so we'll just set thumbnail to null then. And we'll set thumbnail to null. So they wrapped it. I don't know if we have to do that or not. I don't think so. We'll see. Oh, okay. Only admins can do it, so let's go. That's good. It's looking promising. Let's update our API rules here for update. So request.user.id is equal to the user in the project, the owner of the project, which is user. Nice. Okay. So that worked. This error message is from before. So now we don't have an image. So obviously I'm going to need to check that, but that's really good because now we no longer have that image showing. And then obviously I'm going to probably need to hide this if this is showing, right? And then if this is not existing, then we will show that. All right, not too bad, to be honest. This will have my update method here shortly, but for now, leave it. LGTM, what does that mean? Let's go. Looks good to me. Got it, sorry. All right, so I guess now we can check to see if the project thumbnail exists. If it doesn't, we won't try to show that image there, so we're not getting this ugly empty image tag. So right now, data.project.thumbnail should be an empty string because of our fine work of setting up the default project here. And so what we can do is, instead of showing this, I guess we could also show like a placeholder. But I guess for now, we'll just leave this at not showing this at all. I hate the IntelliSense. Data.project.thumbnail. So if it's true, we'll show this. Okay, where's that trash button? That also has to go in there too. I think I actually have a double wrapper there, but okay. Cool, so let's just upload an image here again and just see what happens. So when yeah, it's working, man, it's great. This is fantastic. I can actually see now how we could do that for multiple different images using the same route, right? Because we're actually pulling it out of the, well, in this case, since there's only one image, but in the future, we can have each one of those buttons just have the search params or the query params, search params, query params, whatever you want to call them, and with the name of that thumbnail or that image, and then we can use that here to set whatever name to null. Second, let me get a drink here. All right. So where are we now? Now we're at finish editing this. Another thing that is unfortunate, if they don't have JavaScript, they won't be able to see, you know, how we can upload or display a preview image of what it's going to look like once it's uploaded. I don't think we'll be able to do that if they don't have JavaScript. So I wonder if that will just not display. But for now, let's finish updating the project. So we're in the edit and so I guess we'll not change the thumbnail then. We don't have to set a value here because, let me think about this for a second. Hey there, EDU SRG code. It's going good. We're actually making some pretty good progress. We just got the thumbnail deletion figured out. Now we obviously need to fix this because it's not showing anywhere, but so we'll have this say edit project. I meant to make a bunch of commits throughout the way tonight and I've completely forgotten. But it'll be okay. So now this is going to submit to update. And I guess we can probably use the same project schema as before, but what I don't want to replace the image if they're, or the thumbnail if they don't pass anything in that thumbnail Because I think if we're gonna like get it back in as a value, I think we'd have to be like, we have to convert it. I'm trying to think here. Because right now, with the thumbnail, we just have access to the file name rather than an actual file. That's awesome. Send me a link on Discord. I'd love to check it out. I think once we have like the CRUD functionality done here, we're probably gonna work on deploying this too, so we can start to run some live tests with a few different users. Okay. Update. So I obviously want to apply. Where am I going to host? I'm actually going to do some research on that probably tomorrow. I've been looking at Fly. I'm just trying to think what would be best. Ideally, I would have the PocketBase and the SvelteKit server, located in the same, potentially running on like the same server, right? Containerized or something like that. Considering we're making so many requests to it, it's obviously super easy to deploy a SvelteKit app to Vercel. And then for PocketBase, we could just drop it into a container or run it with Nginx in front of it. But yeah, we haven't got to that point yet. I'll get there. I'll do some research off stream and try to figure out a path for us. So I think when I update this, I want to strip off the, Vercel. So you would think having the SvelteKit app running on Vercel and then having PocketBase running elsewhere, Linode, DigitalOcean. It doesn't really, again, I could run it on my computer probably if I wanted to, but I guess I just think about the amount of requests that are made between the two and trying to ensure the latency is as minimal as possible. But, and I haven't actually looked, let me see here. Because I know Vercel has integrations with, like I know I can do a Supabase backend here. They integrate with Supabase. Let's see, MongoDB. Yeah, I'm gonna figure it out though. Okay, so for the are you using Mongo with your job? I won't disclose where you work, but do you all use Mongo there? Or what do you, I would assume. I know that that NoSQL has been gaining popularity and it's popular amongst YouTubers to use, but I feel like almost all data within an application becomes relational at some point. Other than, big data, for example. But I guess it doesn't really matter because again, I think you'd have to have so many database transactions and queries and massive queries to make it to really even experience the impact of choosing MySQL, or choosing Mongo over MySQL for relational data. What is my take on Firebase? Why people ignore it so much? Oh, Google. Yeah, I don't think people ignore Firebase. I just think that it's just one of those concerns with being at the mercy of a large organization like that. Again, we rely on a lot of large organizations for most of what we do. But yeah, that is a lot of DB queries. I can only imagine. A few of those have probably been my girlfriend, to be honest with you. So a few of those queries recently. Firebase, yeah, I'm concerned about the vendor lock-in. At any point in time, I mean, Google just decided to raise their rates. If you look at what they did with their APIs too, they changed their API, their Google Places, I think is what it's called, the Google Places API, and Google just has the best data, the most accurate data when it comes to maps, especially maps. There are open source alternatives, but they just don't compare. So people pay it, right? Because they don't have a choice. They do have generous free tiers, but yeah, again, I think that use whatever you're comfortable with, whatever helps you develop the fastest and makes you happy, really. I don't think you need to think about scalability too much when you're building side projects or even projects that you want to potentially scale, because when you get to the point of scaling, you'll have the resources or the funds. If you are growing that quickly, you'll have the funds to kind of bring the right people in to fix things for you. Yeah, I agree. I would like to see, again, I haven't looked to see, like, I don't know how old this article is, but I mean, Alibaba, it's kind of misleading though when you see that this company uses X, Y, or Z, because they could just use it for one little tiny internal application, for example, or internal service. It's not like they're running their entire application on that, right? You'll see oftentimes a lot of frameworks and microservices will say that, yeah, they'll say used by Uber and Google, but really it's just one team inside of Google that built a internal tool, and they just so happen to choose that because they're all developers. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think it matters too much though. Ultimately, at the end of the day, just build with whatever you have, whatever you like. Okay, so editing the project. Let's see here. Looks more like a create project page, but whatever. Let's see. So when they edit this, we need to get back on track. So page.server actions, we're hitting an update endpoint, I believe. So update with the action, I mean. So locals, we'll pass and take a request in locals, and then I need to validate this too. So similar to my create. And again, this is another, I think the first thing we're going to do the next stream is to put all of this in some type of, abstract some of these manual recreations of the same thing over and over again away. Because then we can handle the validation there. We can pretty much just be able to pass it a few things like the form data and our locals, and then have it do all the work wherever we want it to do that work at, because I'm sure there's going to be other places we're going to need to access the same information and it's getting repetitive. So at that point, I usually decide to abstract it away once it becomes a headache. So inside of our creates or new, we have this project schema. And hey, Chris. That's a good question, actually. I have seen, let's see here. I did read something. I try to lurk and stalk the issues, discussions, just to see the direction of whatever project I'm using. And I want to say that there was somebody talking about very slow queries, but I believe they optimized it recently. If we look into discussions, for example, I think if I search for SvelteKit, someone will show slow rendering when displaying a lot of items. So they want to show 1,000+ cells. And they go back and forth here, but I think that relates to another issue that was brought up about the query times. But no, I haven't seen any performance testing. It'd be interesting. Maybe we can do that one day. Just slam a PocketBase server and see what happens. But I know that Golang is pretty optimal for doing what it's doing right now with PocketBase. I mean, that's really, they definitely have a strong language built on top of. And I'm sure there has been SQLite performance testing for sure. I can guarantee it. Yeah, I mean, SvelteKit and Svelte, it's built with Svelte, obviously the UI, and yeah, Golang. Two great frameworks, or a great framework and a great language. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I've never personally tried to spin up like Supabase locally. I did attempt at one point to set up, I want to say I tried to set up Firebase locally, because I was just doing it something strange where I was having to make a ton of calls and to the API, and so I tried setting it up locally and it was kind of a pain, but they may have since improved that. But yeah, this is definitely the easiest way to kick off a project, I think, and just to start to get your feet wet and start building without having to think about all those other things. You also have the peace of mind that it's going to deploy just fine too, because it's just a single executable. So the build process is already done. You really just have to put it into a Linux machine or Ubuntu machine, whatever you want to do, containerize Ubuntu image and deploy it somewhere. Set up, you know, Nginx or whatever you prefer. Okay, so this project schema, we'll say update project schema, because I don't want it to, my concern here is that, I'm trying to think here. My brain's kind of hurting. Yeah, I've never even attempted to set up Supabase locally. So the thing about this thumbnail is that, for example, even if we don't change it, like let's just say we left it at what it was before. Just log out real quick and log in as someone else. I forget who I was just logged in as. Okay, I was just already logged in as Iris. It's my dog's name, by the way. One of my two dogs. Other one's name is Nala. We have Walt. Okay. So what I don't want to happen is, I guess when I pass, let's just say I edit the project. Let's say I leave the thumbnail alone. I don't want to change it. Well, right now the value of that input is empty, right? So when I pass it to through my schema validation, my data validation schema here, you update project schema, it's fine if it's any, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to actually update if it is empty, I don't want it to update the database with like an empty string, and because that would delete the image, right? And that's probably why I should spend some time tomorrow also researching ZFD.form data, looking into the files, validating the files, specifically the file size and the file types, just to protect that before we even try to pass it to our database. So I guess I could just set this to z.any, because if they do change it, I'll know, because it will exist. It will be a file or a blob. So I guess that would evaluate to true versus this would evaluate to false if it's an empty string. Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that a few minutes ago, and I didn't bring it up because I was thinking that's a problem for another day. But yeah, because I mean, I've went on, edited my profile on Page before and deleted the image, and then I didn't click save, so it was, you know, my image wasn't actually gone. But we're trying to handle things without JavaScript, or, you know, both with and without JavaScript here. So again, it's just definitely trying to, I know it's more simple because it's just forms, but when you're so used to doing something one way and having JavaScript available to solve all your problems, it's definitely more challenging to think about it from a different perspective. Try to solve the same problems using both, right? I think it'll eventually become second nature though. So, no, not like a media library, like let's just say I'm editing the project here and I just delete this, and then I'm like, oh shit, I actually don't want to delete that. So I don't actually commit the edit, for example, right? But that can be solved later. We can handle that later. Right now, what I want to do is I just want to make sure that, like right now, I already have a thumbnail here. And when I edit this project, if I don't upload anything here, I don't want it to actually, I don't want it to update the thumbnail. I guess I could just pass like a dummy value in the thumbnail too, like false. And then check if it's false. But I think I can just check to see if it's empty, because in the validation I have it as z.any. So let me just do something, I guess, similar to what I did before on my project. Let's see here, create project page. I can honestly just copy all of this here, change this to update, and then so I have the project schema.parse, and then I have a form object. I add the user to that, which I shouldn't have to do because I guess I will do that. I'm not going to change that piece. So project schema.parse. And then before I serialize it though, I guess I can just take out the thumbnail if the thumbnail is an empty string, and then just pass everything else in. That's a quick fix, or a quick workaround. If form object.thumbnail, yeah, I thought you're talking about for what we were just referring to, how we're having this. Yeah, because there's no way to keep the state otherwise, right? There's just no way. We'd have to have, yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that later. Right now, I just want to edit this. yeah. I mean, again, I'm okay with it being instant at the moment because that was something that I had a hard time wrapping my head around how to accomplish. So that's pretty cool. We have that working, so that can stay how it is. So if there is a thumbnail, so I'm gonna rip out the thumb. If there's no thumbnail, we're gonna say so if there's no thumbnail, I don't want to pass the thumbnail to my update method with PocketBase, because if I pass an empty string, it will delete the image. So if there's no form object, so if this is false, which an empty string is falsy, it's going to take the thumbnail out of the form objects, and then we can then set the form data, serialize form obj, I don't know if we have to serialize this because we are not uploading an image in this case, but we'll see. So remove this here, and then we'll say else form data equals serialize form obj. And then record updates, and then I'm going to need projects, and I'm going to need the project ID, which should be in the params. Uh-oh. Alexa, stop. Sorry about that. It's time for bed, or time for me to get ready for bed here shortly. So actually I'm going to be watching a show, but I have to give myself a time limiter. I'll do this all night. So we're going to wrap up this, and then I'm going to end the stream for the night. May pick this back up tomorrow. We'll see. I had a lot of fun today. So params, where was I? Projects. So it'd be params dot project ID, and then the data object is going to be, actually we just do form data. And I think all this stuff can stay the same. Yeah, I think all this can stay the same, except I don't want to redirect them to the home page. I want to redirect them probably back to the projects page, or my/projects, I think. Let's see how this works. So we'll change this to search. Yeah, I can tell I'm getting tired when I can't even think of a tagline for Google right now. Okay, so search anything, edit project, boom, the project submission. Something went wrong, so we got an error. Hey Chris, Chris said, has anybody done any real-time stuff with PocketBase and SvelteKit? Someone asked that earlier. I have not. It would 100% be possible on the client side, no problem at all. I just don't really know how that would work with server side, but I'm sure it could be used in conjunction with the two. That's something I might experiment with. So I did something wrong here. The thumbnail. So the thumbnail is the issue. And that's because I didn't specify, I guess, a default value probably. Let's see, where is it? I know, right? I know. When I work on projects without streaming, I commit almost every little feature that I add, I commit because I end up breaking something about, you know, an hour later. So I want to go back, but I just haven't thought about it. Yeah, it's a pretty big commit. I'll try to be better about that moving forward. Yeah, right? Okay. Let's set a default value and then see if that works. Search the internet. Still getting an error. It has to do with that thumbnail. Let me think here. So, am I getting here? Wait. Oh. Yikes. No one caught that? That's it. Yeah, I usually overcommit too. I'm always like feeling super self-conscious about my commits. If someone looks at my project, I like, why did I commit this, you know, font change? I don't know. I made it last minute after I realized that my published site wasn't looking the way I wanted it to look. So I updated the font and then I wanted it to redeploy. So, but yeah, I'm the same way. Search the anything. Okay. So what am I doing? What am I doing wrong here? I want to look at what is happening. I want to see form object right here. Oh, nice. Did I just not even get this? Am I going insane right now? What's happening? Updates. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm blind. Okay. Wait. It's because the thumbnail is not empty. It's actually an application / octet stream. I really don't want to make a commit without having this work, but let me think here. Right, so how can I check that to see if it is? Do I check the length of it? Okay. Can I access the size? See, the way it's gonna be a blob because obviously it's a file input. Maybe. Again, I mentioned I haven't yet validated emails or validated files. So I'm looking here at a blob has an array, has a type. I guess I get the type. I wonder if the type should be something different. So I can just check to see if it's not, like if it's this type, right? Oh, just thumbnail, just dot size. Oh wow, I was way overcomplicating that. Okay. So search the anything does work. Did I delete that thumbnail though, or did it? I think I deleted the thumbnail too, accidentally. Because yeah, I see this here. And I'm looking at it also over here. But I want to I think I accidentally just deleted. I think I checked. So if the size is 0, then I took out thumbnail out of form object and I just passed in the rest to form data. And then I update the record with form data, but it looks like it didn't. When I update something, do I have to? Okay, so I do have to pass in. That's gonna be a pain. So I didn't need to pass in the file. So I didn't need to pass in the thumbnail, otherwise it's gonna delete it. That's kind of strange. But all right, everyone, I think that's going to cut it for the night. I'm a little bit running behind right now. First order of business next stream is to update and delete projects. This is done. The project page is mostly done. We have to add the comments and a few little things, but this may be something we're going to do in the future. Comments are for sure going to be coming up. We're definitely going to do comments. Those will be implemented a very similar way that we implemented votes. And then image validation, I think it's probably a good point in time to start doing that, considering I'm over here trying to do that anyways. So yeah, I had a lot of fun too. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. Definitely appreciate you all. Hope everybody has, and I hope everybody has a good evening and good Sunday. I might stream tomorrow. We'll see how things go, but yeah, if not, I'll see you guys the next time.